Do you remember that F1 British Week, JT?
I do remember that F1 British Week, LC.
How did that F1 British Week end?
That F1 British Week ended like McLaren's 2015 season.
Or worse.
Drastic. Oh my god.
Because we didn't get a video out. And it was just technical difficulties, guys.
Well, it was massive. Wi-Fi was the main cause. South of England, be very disappointed in yourselves.
It's very bad, very bad. But anyway, we are here. We are ready to do the F1 debate show for you ahead of between the British and the Hungarian Grand Prix. So it's going to be a big episode. This we're going to be talking about all the news in the paddock, even over Britain because we weren't there. So we'll be talking a bit about Britain, about our British Grand Prix at Silverstone, given the Driver of the Day award, which obviously we didn't give at Silverstone, and then looking forward into Hungary, we'll be talking about some of the big things that happened in the news, such as driver signings in the paddock. We'll be talking about the tyres that are confirmed for the next few races up to the Mexican Grand Prix, and looking forward into the Hungarian Grand Prix. What will happen, who will be doing it, and so on and so forth. So let's start with the 2 days in Silverstone, the in-season testing.
Yes, exactly. Obviously, moving on to Silverstone, about our weekend, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But straight after the Grand Prix was the first in-season testing of the season. And a very good chance to see all the young drivers, which me and LC seen in GP2 and GP3, which was fantastic, to give their chance at a Formula 1 drive. Obviously, you had some top drivers there. I mean, Alonso was there, Haryanto was there. So, obviously, not only for the young guns, it's also for the big guys as well to test out new parts and everything. And who came on top, surprisingly, was Fernando Alonso in the McLaren, which was very, very surprising. He got 131.290. He did 105 laps in that McLaren, which it wasn't really no surprise. I mean, I think last year, they did about 100 and something laps. And again, that was a bit of a surprise. So obviously compared to last season McLaren. So very impressive from McLaren there. But I don't think that it's about speed. I think they're just testing and stuff. So obviously, I mean, I'm impressed McLaren's top. Esteban Ocon was second in the Mercedes with a 132.833 rather, 1.5 seconds behind Fernando Alonso. He did 123 laps in the Mercedes. I was following him on his Instagram, so and he was saying how excited he was. We've seen him in GB2 as well. It was fantastic for him. I've heard a lot about him as well, so there's a lot of potential in this guy. So watch out for his name. Coming up, and the driver who was in P3 that me and LC talked about, Alex Lynn in the Williams with a 134.433. Obviously, he is part of the Williams team. I believe that he will have a drive at some point in the future. And I do like this kid. Obviously, as we were talking about in the British week, which was kind of a success in a way. In fourth place in the Ferrari was Charles Leclerc, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I don't know how to pronounce his name. With a 134.446, about 3.1 seconds behind Fernando Alonso. He only did 19 laps, unfortunately, so obviously not very good running there. And he is part of the Ferrari Drivers Academy, a bit like what Jules Bianchi was. So obviously some heritage there. Obviously learned a lot from him, but only 19 laps was a bit of a disappointment. In the Force India in P5 was Nikita Mazepin. Haven't heard much about him whatsoever. He did a 134.52, 135 laps he did. In sixth was our very own Carlos Sainz in the Toro Rosso, obviously, with 134.643. He did 91 laps in that one. In seventh in the Haas was Santino Ferrucchi. I think that's how I pronounce his name. In the Haas with 134.866 on 55 laps. In eighth place was Pascal Wehrlein testing out. I think he was testing out the Pirelli tyres in the Mercedes 2014 hybrid car. He did a 134.982. He did 48 laps. Obviously, I was hearing about something about there was some sort of Pirelli testing going on as well. So I did see some pictures of him going out in the I think it's W05. I think it was called. So again, I was a bit surprised, but obviously now I know why. In ninth place was Haryanto in the Manor with a 135.631. He did 64 laps, 4.3 seconds behind Fernando Alonso. In the Renault was the young Russian in Sergei Sorokin, 136.575. And in last place, rounding up the grid was Pierre Gasly in the Red Bull with a 143.891. And he did 52 laps. And that's day one.
That was a great day one. Day two was the first place was Kimi Räikkönen. His 103 laps, his fastest time was a 130.665. That was in the Ferrari, this is the one that we say on the grid, the 2016, his hybrid car for this season. In second place in the Mercedes was Esteban Ocon with a time of 131.212 after 139 laps. That was the highest laps we'd seen on the grid done on day two. Third place was the man at the back, Pierre Gasly, in the Red Bull with a time of 1:31.429 after doing 103 laps. He is a name to watch out for, obviously multiple GP2 sprint and feature race winner, and obviously Red Bull are very much happy with the drivers that they have at the moment, but we could see him in the Red Bull Junior programme and moving up through the ranks, Toro Rosso and so forth, and it could be even for next season. Obviously Daniel Kvyat, as you know, isn't signed, but we'll get into that in just a little while. In fourth place was Nikita Mazepin. Obviously, sorry for the pronunciation if that's wrong. I think it probably is. In the Force India, his time was a 1:31.561 with 69 laps. Fifth place was Stoffel Van Dorn, the man who drove to Driver of the Day in Bahrain. He did a time of 1:31.761 after 114 laps. Sixth place was Valtteri Bottas in the Williams with a time of 1:32.423. So it was very strange to see him that low. He did do a low amount of laps though at 98. He was one of 6 drivers to do less than 100 laps on that day. In seventh place was Santino Ferrucci in the Haas, as JT mentioned, doing 107 laps and the best time of 1:33.141. In eighth place was Jolyon Palmer in the Renault with a time of 1:33.308 with 98 laps. In ninth place was a new driver called Sergio Senti Camara in the Toro Rosso with a time of 1:34.040. 10th place was Jordan King in the Manor of a time of 1:35.060, and in last place was Pascal Wehrlein in the 2014 specification car, also testing the Pirelli tyres, as JT mentioned, with a time of 1:36.182 with 128 laps, the second most laps done on that day. And that was the end of the 2-day tests in Silverstone.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously some very good, fantastic driving in testing. There was loads of pictures going on social media as well. I was following it quite closely. It was as like me and Elsie said. Unfortunately, we couldn't stick around for that. I think we could have got some very good videos, some very good images for you guys.
Yeah.
But I mean, the talk right now was obviously the driver who finished top on Wednesday was Kimi Räikkönen, who this week has actually announced that he's staying on another year at Ferrari, which I was very, very surprised, if I'm honest with you. A lot of people weren't. I think about 70% of Ferrari fans, so we were expecting that. And I was like, you know what, I was kind of expecting like Sergio Perez to move up there, or maybe like a young Ferrari driver to get that seat, because Kimi Räikkönen's had his time, he's been there, he's done that. So again, I was very surprised that they announced him, but obviously that's been done. He's there for 2017. I believe that will be his final year at Ferrari. I can't see it. I can't see him going any further than that, unless they do win a title, which again I can't see it happening. But who knows? And so, I am still very, very surprised. Yeah. I mean, obviously that's ruled him out, obviously leaving, going elsewhere. And that's also ruled out Sergio Perez going to Ferrari, which has also been announced that him and Hülkenberg have both signed for Force India for another year. So again, Nico Hülkenberg staying, which is rumoured that he was going to leave, going to like Le Mans and endurance racing, what he normally does.
Yeah.
And Perez as well, obviously stopping him from going from a driver Ferrari. I believe again that might be his last chance at a top team, because obviously with all these young guns coming through, I believe Perez had his chance. He had his chance at McLaren. It was a bit unfortunate, but that's the way it goes, isn't it, Elsie?
It is. But there's some great drivers who have been signed. Obviously, that rules them all out of the silly season. Let's start with Kimi Räikkönen. For my view, I think it's a great move because it's probably his second most successful year and his first most successful year after he won the 2007 World Championship. He was jumping about, obviously, and his return at Lotus wasn't great. And he's been so strong this year with podiums and really contesting it. And as I say, before Silverstone, he was tied with Sebastian Vettel on 96 points. So, I mean, that is amazing that he's been signed for next year, because we've all been talking about Kimi getting too old and going into retirement. But now that you think he's going to stick around, what can he do? Again, the other two drivers, Sergio Checo and Nico Hülkenberg, we've been saying that again. They're going to move elsewhere. Sergio will possibly stay in Formula 1, obviously going to Ferrari. That's not happening anymore, as you say. Nico going to Le Mans. That's not happening anymore. Two great drivers are staying in, and it'd be great. But it's fantastic to know now that they know that. So obviously you've got 2 races left, and then the summer break, and then the rest, and they know they're happy. In Hungary, they must be very happy because they'll now know that their future is secured for next season, for 2017, and it rolls them out of the silly season, which, I mean, our drivers, it's running out, but obviously there's still some drivers in it. There's Daniel Kvyat, obviously he's the biggest one. Daniel Kvyat, he's still going to be in there. Then you've got other people like Jolie and Kevin, and the 2 Manor drivers, but we'll get into that later on in the season, possibly over the summer break. We'll be bringing you more driver transfer news. Moving on to the tyre compounds that have been chosen for the rest of the season. Now, I'm forgetting which ones I've already told you, but the newest ones are the choices for the United States Grand Prix in Texas and the Mexican Grand Prix in somewhere in Mexico. And the choices are for the US Grand Prix, it is the super soft, the soft and the medium compound tyres, and for Mexico, it's the super soft, the soft and the medium compound tyres. I'll just read out the ones for Hungary and onwards in case any of you have forgotten out there. So for Hungary, it is the super soft, the soft and the medium compound tyres, and for Germany, which is the last race before the summer break, it is the super soft, the soft and the medium. So again, 2 races back to back, the same compounds. Excellent. So yeah, it's very different to see and great to see those compounds again making their heads come back in.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, I mean, to be fair, I'm looking forward to the German Grand Prix again, seeing the super softs and the ultra softs back as well. I mean, me and Elsie touched them tyres, didn't we? Elsie at Silverstone, obviously. It was very weird to feel them. I mean, I must be comparing them all them tyres. So yeah, that is tyre talk out of the way. Just one thing I wanted to quickly mention that I've just seen probably in the last about half an hour is that is rumour that Sauber are on the brink of leaving Formula One altogether because, as we all know, financially they have just been dreadful. They haven't performed. They haven't been where they're supposed to be. After a very good 2012, they haven't really been the same. I mean, a pointless 2014, and it's looking that way this season again in 2016. It just hasn't been the same, hasn't it, Elsie, for them? It's just gone from bad to worse, and obviously from a team that originated from endurance racing, came into Formula 1 in '91, and now on the brink of leaving. And it's not like a manufacturer team; it's from Peter Sauber. He formed that team. That's his. So I think Williams going. So it is a bit of a shame that we could lose a team like Sauber. I mean, they haven't really had a history. They haven't won any constructors or drivers championships, but they're still one of the originals. You know what I mean? They're a good team. I like them. So it would be shame to see them go, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. It'd be great. They've had some great years. I mean, obviously 2012 made Sergio's career along with Kirby, and that was probably their best year to date. So it's different to see. But JT. One big thing that we've got to do that we didn't do last week, but we needed to, and that is to award the Driver of the Day award. Now, this man who is getting it is basically the homegrown hero. He led every single session, apart from Q1, which again, just that's one of them sod law things. Can you guess who it is yet? Because he led all 3 practice sessions, Q2, Q3, from pole, and then just took the race, dominated. Just had an amazing lead over his teammate who came in second place, and obviously we saw him. And the cheer for this man, JT, it was just unbelievable, wasn't it?
It was literally unbelievable. I mean, I used to be a big fan of this guy when I was younger. Obviously, when he left my team, I went off him a little bit. But when we were there, I mean, the crowd is. You hear so many stories about this man on Facebook, or whatever. People like being at him all the time. And you go to Silverstone and you actually think, this guy is actually liked a lot. And obviously, I think you all know who we're talking about now. It's Nico Rosberg. I'm only kidding. It's Lewis Hamilton, of course. Who else could it be? You know what I mean? I knew. But no, this man drove superbly all weekend. We're not only giving him just because he's British and you're being a bit biased, guys. No, it's not. Like, seriously, I think he deserves it. Because we always give it to the young guys. Who did a good race. Yes, it wasn't exactly the most entertaining race on TV, but for us it was a very good race. I'll tell you a little about that in a minute. But yes, Lewis Hamilton, you have won your very first F1 WHO Driver of the Day award, the first one of the top teams to actually win this award, so treasure it while you can. He did send a message. He said, "Thank you very much, LC and JT. Very, very honoured to be winning this award. Yes, I've won 3 championships. Yes, I've won 4 British Grand Prix, but this award comes up top." And I did point you out when I was getting interviewed on that stage on Sunday night. So I gave us a wave and I was like, I'll see. Right. So Lewis Hamilton, coming your way, first class.
And one of the stats that JT had mentioned, well, he had mentioned in the F1 debate show, if any of you watched it, no? Oh, well, if you did. But he did mention, though, that Lewis Hamilton has won the British Grand Prix every single year. He's won, obviously, 2008, 2014 and 2015. So he's won this year, StatTac. He's won this year, JT. So what do you think will happen?
probably going to win the championship.
Yeah.
It didn't go Rosberg's way. I think it went from P2 to P3 because of some sort of radio problem. So again, that's brought this topic back into the equation again. So now they're only down to a point. So again, that's do you know what I mean? Like, yes, it is Mercedes dominant, but I'm loving this season so far.
It
is becoming one of my favorite, probably the best season since 2012, in my opinion. If I'm honest,
it is good.
I think in terms of like drama, I mean, not in terms of like how close the championship is, just in terms of how all the drama, all the off track action. I think it's just fantastic.
But still, as you mentioned though, JT, not about drivers' championship, but it is very close at the moment. Just moving on to Nico Rosberg, and obviously we'll give a bit of a review just to end this episode of Silverstone.
Yes.
Nico Rosberg. Okay, so he was in second place behind Lewis Hamilton. He was having a bit of a problem with the car, and Mercedes breached their. I've got a bit too. Breached the regulations. Okay, they breached the format. Well, that is disgusting. I'm so sorry. Mercedes breached. Mercedes breached the regulations, okay, by telling Nico Rosberg what was wrong with the car. He was having a problem with the gearing, I think it was, and he was told basically how to fix it. This was a breach of the regulations, and Mercedes willingly knew this, so so Nico was given a time penalty, which is 10 seconds, and that was greater than his lead over Max Verstappen in third place, which meant it promoted Max to second, it demoted Nico to third, and that has a massive effect on the Drivers' Championship, as the gap now is a tiny. Do you know what the gap is, JT?
A point?
It is one. I mean, that is wow. Yeah. So Nico Rosberg leads at 168 points, but behind him, I mean, the thing is though, JT, let's just go back to what you said. For example, like 2013, okay? So you had the first race of the season was Kimi Räikkönen. Räikkönen moved to the top, 25. Seb, 18. That was, fine. Fine. Somebody won and it wasn't Seb, so fine. Malaysia came along. Seb won. Mark second. Seb went to the top with 18 plus 25. I can't do that off the top of my head. What's that? Something high. But you know what I mean? So anyways, but what the point I'm saying is Seb went to the top at Malaysia. And that's where he stayed. But this season started with Nico 25. No, it wasn't, sorry. It was 25 off. Yeah. Someone else came in to win. Lewis. I can't remember the order, but it was like Nico Lewis, Max, Nico Lewis. And then it's come down to this. So we're 2 races before the summer break, JT, and then the second half of the season. So, yeah, I think it's unbelievable. So, as I say, 1 point lead by Nico. Kimi Räikkönen is in third place with 106 points. As I said earlier on in the episode, he was tied with Sebastian Vettel on the same amount of points. After an abysmal race by Sebastian Vettel, he only gained 2 points in 98 and moved down to 5th. Kimi Räikkönen moved up to 106 points, which is great. Again, it goes back to he's ahead Ferrari now, so, I mean, come on, he must be on cloud 9. Daniel Ricciardo is in 4th place with the 100 points, the double bagel. Sebastian Vettel is on 98 points, 2 points behind his ex-teammate, still winless, and heading into JT, the place where he got his second win. And
yeah, exactly. So
come on, man, pull it out.
It's not going well for Vettel at the moment, but
newly promoted to second place, 6th place. Max Verstappen is in 6th place, as I just said, with 90 points. Then there's a massive, mind the gap, Valtteri Bottas, who's in 7th place with 54 points. But I mean, that it doesn't matter. And also as well, at least you've got 6 strong drivers, at the top of battling it out. Because I'll tell you something, the gap, I'm trying to work it out. That is a gap from 60. That's 78 gap. That's a 78 gap. 78 points gap between Verstappen and Rosberg is not bad for heading into round 11, isn't it, JT? I mean, that's not bad at all compared to, as I say, good. In 13, when the gap would have been like 200 points between Vettel and, say Alonso.
Exactly, so
the gap would have been massive.
It's still all to play for, but obviously I think it's obviously going to go down to one of the Mercedes.
It is. Obviously the constructors is a different story.
You never know.
But the constructors is a different story. But that is massive. Obviously 8th place, Sergio Perez with 47 points. 9th place, Felipe Massa with 38. So again, 2 Williams in the top 10, which is great. To round off the top 10 is the Haas driver of Romain Grosjean with 28 points. 11th place is Nico Hülkenberg on 26. Carlos Sainz is tied with Nico on 26 points also. Kvyat is in 23 points in 13th position. Nico Rosberg. We'll scrap that. Yeah, he's been demoted so much. 14th place is Fernando Alonso with 18 points, ahead of Jenson Button. Now, that's strange to say, isn't it, JT?
It is very strange.
It is.
But, I mean, they're two very talented drivers. They shouldn't be down there, but you know what? I believe they get higher.
And actually, Alonso going into the gravel trap, as we did many times. We saw many drivers go off. 16th place is Kevin Magnussen with 6 points. And then you join the 2-1 clubs with Pascal Wehrlein and Stoffel Van Dorn still. And then after that, it goes into the 0 club, which is Esteban Gutierrez, Julian Palmer, Marcus Ericsson, Felipe Nasra, and Rio Haryanto. The 0 club, JT.
The 0 club. Oh, bless them. I'm sure we'll play out the 0 club. And anyways, the 0 club is a very exclusive club.
It is. It's a very, very exclusive. I heard that you have to be a driver who's got 0 points to get in. So I mean, that's very exclusive.
Exactly. So not many people can say that they've got 0 points. So that is an executive club for executive drivers. So
yeah. So what we're going to do now, JT, just to close off the F1 debate show, we are just going to talk. We are going to give a small review of the British Grand Prix. It was amazing, wasn't it, just to see?
I mean, what an experience for me and LC.
It was great. We will be absolutely fantastic. We will be bringing out another video to talk about our experience of the race. But I mean, come on, the race was amazing, wasn't it?
It was, especially from where we were, because obviously when me and LC left the track, people obviously we had our Formula 1 gear on, so people were coming up to us saying, oh, it was a boring race, it was a bit of a rubbish race, and it was like, well, it might have been for use on the telly, but we were at Abbey, so we seen everybody go, because obviously it started in the wets, so 4 wet tyres, but unfortunately for us, LC, it was a safety car start.
That was probably the worst moment of the weekend, and the grunt from everyone, and you could hear it, even from Magnussen and Beckett, you could hear just the grunt of everyone going, oh.
Oh, it was dreadful. And obviously, because me and Elsie had our camcorders out ready to record the start, and about 50 minutes to go, it comes up on the screen right in front of us, just in race control, safety car start, and we're like, are you kidding me?
To be honest, because it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't, because I mean, there was a massive downpour just before. I think just before the red arrows were on.
Yeah.
And I'm lying. Just after the red arrows summit, and then from that on, it was just obviously just blind water. And just pretty much when a dry line was appearing, obviously you have turn 1 at Abbey, which is obviously a very fast corner. I mean, I think Palmer was saying that you can do that in flat.
Yeah.
Going in 8th, so it's a very high speed corner. Not Palmer, perhaps. But no, I mean, obviously you've seen Wehrlein go off, Haryanto go off, Raikkonen, Alonso, Sainz as well, very near hit Vettel, I believe. So
Hamilton.
Verstappen, Rosberg as well, he went off.
Oh, that got a cheer, that, obviously.
But honestly, it was a fantastic day, wasn't it, Elsie?
It was a great race. The results of the 2016 British Grand Prix, if you didn't catch it, was first place Lewis Hamilton with a gap of 8 seconds, newly over Max Verstappen. How it finished on the day was a lead of around 10 seconds to Nico Rosberg, with Verstappen in second, but now obviously the change. So the new addition is Hamilton in first place, Verstappen in second, Rosberg in third, Ricciardo in fourth, Raikkonen in fifth. The two Force Indias 6 and 7 so together in 6 and 7. I've just said Carlos Sainz in 8, Sebastian Vettel. As I say, JT, a bad race by him, and then if you like, a good race by Daniel Kvyat, the man who came to round off the top 10. So he's looking good.
He finally scored some points.
Finally, So there we go. Anyway, guys, so that is pretty much the end of the F1 debate show. So thank you very much for watching this episode. Obviously, again, we apologise for not having any videos out to add to the failure that was the F1 British Week.
It was, yeah, but unfortunately, but obviously, check out later on this weekend or sometime next week our vlog that we did experientially. So again, that's the make up for what we lost. But obviously, again, we do apologise. But videos as normal, normal service has resumed.
Yeah, it has. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this episode, guys, and we will see you in the next one.
See you later, guys.
Bye.